Hi, welcome to Mr. Otter Studio. Today we are going to be doing a reproduction of an Edgar Degas painting called Dancers at the Bar, and it was painted in 1888. Degas' style is loose and flowy, and it works incredibly well with oil pastels. We're going to draw it together in pencil, and then we're going to fill it in with oil pastels. Oil pastels are great for creating impressionist type artwork, and this painting is a great example of it. First, let's go over the supplies that you will need. You will need paper. I am using green construction paper. Oil pastels, I'm using Craypast Junior Artist oil pastels, and they're made by Sakura. You need a pencil to draw it on your paper, and I'm using a Sumo Grip mechanical pencil made by Sakura. I am going to walk you through drawing the ballerinas and the bar. I'm going to be using a pen. Make sure you use a pencil. So first we're going to be drawing the bar, and the bar goes all the way across the page, and both of the ballerinas have one leg up on it. Find the middle of your paper from top to bottom, it's about here, and then in the top half, which is right here, this is where the bar starts. And the bar ends on the middle of this side of the page. Draw a diagonal line across. And then you're going to make it thicker by drawing another line underneath. So this represents the bar. Then we're going to draw the line where the wall meets the floor. We're starting halfway up on our page, and we're coming not quite down to the bottom, up just a little bit from the bottom of the page. This is our wall, our floor, and our bar. Now let's draw the ballerinas. We're going to be using simple shapes like ovals, circles, rectangles, and triangles. We're going to be drawing a triangle to represent their upper body, or from their shoulders down to their belly buttons. The first ballerina starts right in the middle of the page, but she's leaning this way, so we're going to make a diagonal this way and then create that triangle shape, or a gumdrop shape, or a candy corn, if you know what those are. Let's draw the middle of the next ballerina, so walk over just a little bit, and this next ballerina is standing up very, very straight. Then let's draw their heads. This ballerina is looking down and to the side, so I'm just going to draw an oval for her head. This ballerina is looking in this direction, and the oval's just a little bit over this way. And then let's draw their arms. This ballerina's arms coming to the side, so draw a rectangle shape, then a triangle shape, and then we're gonna draw her hand, which is just like an oval. This ballerina's right arm is in front of her body, but we can see her back arm. Draw a rectangle down from the top, and then a triangle that comes over behind this ballerina. We're going to draw the bottom of their skirt or their tutu, their dance costume. Let's start with this first one. So it comes across underneath her elbow, and then it starts to drop down, and it drops all the way down to the middle line for the floor, comes all the way around and back up to the bar and tucks in front of this ballerina. So this huge shape, there's gonna be a line that separates them right here. Now let's draw their legs. If there was a line coming down from her torso, her left leg is on the ground and it's just a triangle. And then you're gonna draw a line up, almost like a triangle at the bottom, and then just tuck that line behind. So her foot is going up in that direction. This ballerina has her right foot on the ground. So we've got a triangle in this direction, and then it's coming to the right and over. So these are just triangles. This part of her leg is a triangle coming up to her arm, and then her foot is going off of the picture plane. So it's going off of the paper. This ballerina's left leg is coming up to the bar and then tucking behind it this way. And maybe you could see part of her foot back here. You can't really see it in Degas. Her neck, since she's looking to the side, and then you've got a shoulder right there. This part is going to come down just a little bit. This is the side of her face. So since it's the side of her face, we can see her nose. So I'm just gonna put her nose in and her chin. Here's just the line for her hair. There's an ear and then hair, and maybe she has some kind of bun or something right in there. This ballerina, let's just sketch in the side of her face. Here is where her cheek kind of starts to come out and her chin, and then I'm just gonna draw a little indication of a nose on that side, and maybe a little bit more of a chin. And her neck, there's a line coming up from her shoulder onto the back of her neck. Oh, we forgot her back arm. This one's really simple. Just start at the top of her shoulder, and you're gonna draw a triangle, and draw another triangle under it. So there's that side of her arm. And you can see just a little bit of the line of her dress right here. She might have some kind of bun or something here. Comes in front of her face. And that's it. Those are the basic shapes. So drawing this on is gonna be the hardest part. Filling it in with color is the funnest part. Now we're ready to fill in the background. These are the colors that I'm using. And again, these are Craypast Junior Artist oil pastels. A blue, a kind of mustardy yellow, a white, a black, a brown, and an orange. We're gonna start with the background first, and we're gonna be using our orange. So fill in all the area above this line, just not the ballerinas or the bar. So in larger areas, you can just use the side of your oil pastel. Fill in the floor. I'm using this kind of mustardy yellow color. Okay, now we're gonna take the same color we used for the floor, this kind of mustardy color, and I'm gonna fill in the bar. I'm gonna fill in the back of this ballerina's neck and part of her face and her arm right here. Put a little bit of on the shoulder of this one, so maybe a little bit on there, and a little bit in their legs. I'm not pushing very hard. Now what we're going to do is we're gonna work in this blue area and just fill it in with our blue, and I'm not gonna press very hard because this is a light blue and I'm gonna be using the white over the top, but I'm gonna be using this motion like this because this is the direction this fabric is falling. I'm gonna put a little bit on her sleeve here, down in her dress. She has a little bit on her arm. Also, forgot a little bit of the background in here and the bar. So she has some blue on her arm, on her back, on this dress, and she has some blue on her back as well and down on her dress and on the side here. Bring this blue closer to the edges. Let's grab our white. So this ballerina has a ton of white on her. Her face, her back, especially right up here, there's just like a triangle that's coming down onto her shoulder. And then lightly, we're just gonna fill in her back. And you can start on her dress. Also her arm. And I had blue on there, so it's just gonna mix with the blue a little bit. And this back arm as well. So almost the whole upper part of this ballerina is white. And then let's go ahead and just bring it down onto the skirt. And I'm using the same marks and direction as those other ones are in. So I'm just bringing it out. You have to be careful around the edge because this background color will start to blend in. And then we're going to keep using this white while we have it. Let's get her shoulder and her arm right here along the back of her neck. And then there's a little bit on her face that's mixing with that background color. And then her leg. We'll be using our white to kind of blend it and make it into a new lighter color on this one here. Really quickly, let's just draw her hair. I'm going to be using this brown in the front, and then I'm going to put the orange kind of on the back. And then take that same orange. She actually has some orange on her back right here, reflecting off of the wall, and a little bit on her tights down on this leg. So I'm just using this orange to add a few little highlights. Let's actually put some orange in her hair. Right now, we're just going to be putting a few more details in with this blue. I'm just going to put this curve right in here. So that's kind of separating these two dresses. I'm going to be putting a little bit more of a shadow in here. So you're just taking your blue to make some more details in their costumes. But I'm just going to add a little bit more blue to her arm on this hand, bottom part of her leg here, and then just a bit of a shadow on the top of this leg and on the side of that one. So once we've blocked in all of these colors, we've added a few of the blue details in here. Now we're going to use the black, and this is what's really going to make these dancers jump off the paper. And I love how Degas uses these outlines. So let's start with her hair. So I don't know if she has a bun, but it kind of looks like a little bun on the back. And then we're going to use this black, use the very edge to outline her face right here and her neck that comes up. This line kind of overlaps it. And then I'm going to outline her nose. Let's draw this curve for her dress. This part right here that comes in, and then it kind of trails down in here and comes across the top. So you can add a little bit more shading in there and some wrinkles. And then her whole arm is outlined. So some lines are thicker, some lines are thinner. The bottom of this leg is thick. And then outline the bar. So this dancer is starting to come together. We need to just put the rest of her dress in. And then go ahead and outline her arm. Now let's work on the top part of this dancer, and then we'll work with this tutu area down in here. There's a dark outline on the back of her neck. She has kind of a little shadow right in here on her back. The back part of her arm has a pretty thick shadow. And then we're going to outline the back of her hair up here. And then the front of her face. Try to use the corner of your oil pastel to do these outlines because they're not very thick. Outline this leg. Now we're going to use this black and we're going to make a few details in here. Let's outline the legs. There's a dark outline on the back of this leg. kind of thinner one on the front that doesn't go all the way up. There's a dark one on the front of this leg and the bottom of the foot, but a tiny thin one on the back. Now on the bottom, we're just gonna make this squiggly line to represent where these skirts are, and I'm just rolling my oil pastel. And then we need to get a little bit of this line in where the wall is. I'm just gonna put some lines in here for where her hair was darker. You can put a few more lines in here, up here by her skirt, and there's going to be some shading along the wall, so you can use the black. So just make some squiggle lines and then you can go over it with your oil pastel, the same color. Okay, and that's it. It's good when you're learning a new medium to learn how to sketch like the masters. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Have a wonderful day. We will see you around on YouTube.